Hey everyone, this is Krishna. Welcome back to the Git and GitHub Zero to Hero series. This is a day 03. In today's session, we are going to understand something very important. Already, we know what is Git, right? But we should know what is GitHub and the difference between Git and GitHub. Don't worry, even if you are completely new, I will explain everything in a very simple way. Let's start with Git. Already we have some idea about Git, right? So what is a Git? So Git is a tool. What kind of tool? Version control system tool. Especially it's a distributed version control system tool, right? What is the purpose of this? It helps you track changes in your project, right? What are the changes you have done or you're about to done? Everything will be managed by this particular tool. For example, if you are writing the code and you make changes today and you will make changes tomorrow, you did changes yesterday and the next week also, then this Git keeps track of all those changes. So anytime you can go back to an older version if something breaks. And the best part is Git works on your own system. Git will be installed on your own system. You can do all the changes and everything will be tracked in your own system. You don't even need internet for most of the operations. Majority of the operations, you don't need the internet also. Now, let's talk about the GitHub. Let's talk about a GitHub. GitHub is not a tool like a Git. It is not a tool like a Git. Then what it is a platform. Is a platform, or you can say a website, right? A platform where you can store your code online. Where you can store your code online. Why should we store online? Because when you're working in a team, like a group of people, let us say in your organization, you have multiple users available, multiple developers, right? Everyone is going to work on the same project. Then everyone need access to the same project code, right? So you can share the code with the different developers, you can collaborate with them, and you can back up your work and all the things. And that exactly what GitHub does. So in simple terms, Git helps you manage your code. It helps you share your code with the team. Now let's understand the differences clearly. The Git works on your local machine, whereas the GitHub works on the cloud. Git track the changes, whereas the GitHub helps your team collaborate safely and securely. The Git can work without internet because everything is going to be in your local machine, whereas the GitHub needs internet. Whereas the GitHub needs internet. Why? Because everyone is going to connect to the GitHub. Every employee, every developer, they will connect to the GitHub like this, and they will get the code, they will share the code, I mean, what we call that, they will save the code in the GitHub, and they can get the code modified by the other developers and all the things. It requires internet. So if you ask me, is the only GitHub is the only hosting platform for Git? No, there are other platforms. And if you ask me the popular platforms available in the market, obviously the GitHub is the one, right? And then we have Git Lab, we have Bitbucket, we have Azure repos, we have AWS code commit. Like this, we have n number of hosting platforms available. But out of those, the GitHub is the popular one. GitLab is also a popular. If you learn one hosting platform, you can manage all other hosting platforms easily. Now, let's quickly talk about some important features of the GitHub. So first, let's talk about a repository. First, let's talk about a repository. I think already you have some basic idea about a repository, right? What is a repository? What is a repository? A repository is simply your project on GitHub, your project folder, like where you store all the code and everything. Like your project might have multiple files, right? Let's say you are designing a website. It has index.html, signup.html, contact us.html, right? All these files will be placed in a folder, and that is known as a repository. And not only the files, the repository contains all the changes done, like versions and history, like when the file was modified, who did the modifications, and all everything will be managed in the repository. Because if I say only your project folder on GitHub is known as repository, you might ask a question: if I store all the files in my local computer without Git or GitHub also, can I say that folder as a repository? No, because your computer doesn't track all the changes, it doesn't maintain the history, right? Only the Git or GitHub will track all the changes and maintains the history of that. So the repository is the first key feature. And then the next one is a pull requests. Next one is a pull request, PR. And if you talk about GitLab, the same thing is known as a merge request. So what it is, generally in the real time, whenever you are doing a development, so there is a branch in the repository. In the repository, there is a branch. The repository, there is a branch. So let us say this is the branch, right? So it will track all the changes. Let us say this is called as a main branch. In the last video, while we installed Git, we selected the branch name as the main, right? A default branch name. That is the main branch which contains the code. So whenever a developer wants to work on a specific feature, then instead of modifying on the main branch, what they do is they create a feature branch. They will call it as feature branch. Let us say sign up feature, login feature, and so on. And they do the development, right? And then they will merge with the main branch. Then they will merge with main branch. Here they will merge all the changes into the main branch. For safety and security, here directly we don't allow the merge. We need to raise a PR, pull request. What does that mean? Whenever the user creates a pull request, other developer has to review the code and they need to approve it. Then only this will be merged. This is the key feature on a GitHub. This is the key feature. So that whenever you create a pull request, you are a developer, you did some code changes, and you want to merge with the main branch, and you have to create a pull request. So other team members can review your code before accepting it. They can provide some suggestions. They might request some changes. Once everything is good, then they will accept or approve the PR. Then you can merge that with the main branch. And then the next one is issues. Next feature is issues. These are not available in the regular Git. These are only available on the hosting platforms. Whenever you make changes and want to add them to the whenever you want to add them to the main branch, you can do with the pull request, right? Okay. What is this issues is, once the project is ready, right, or in the development phase, the testing team will start testing the product, right, your application or whatever, and they might found some bugs, and they want to send those bugs to the developer so that they can start working on the bugs. They will provide fixes and everything, and that can be created using the issues. So this issues feature is used to track the bugs or a new task or a new ideas. It helps you organize your work. And finally, the most important for DevOps team is GitHub Actions. Nowadays, this GitHub Actions is used by the testing team also to do the automation of their test cases and all. Okay, what is this GitHub Actions is? GitHub Actions is used to automate the tasks like building, testing, or even a deployment. I will give you a simple example so that you can understand what is the GitHub Actions. So let us say there is a developer. Okay, so here there is a Git. He uploaded the code, then it has been saved into GitHub, right? Then you can create a GitHub Actions with the help of GitHub Actions. You can automate that this code has to be pushed on to the testing server. Automatically, that application can be uploaded to the testing server or a staging server or even to a production server. You can do automation. If there is no GitHub Actions, a DevOps person or someone from the operations team has to download the code and they have to upload into the server, install into the server. But this GitHub Actions allows you to automate all these things. So to summarize, Git is a tool, GitHub is a platform. Git manages code, GitHub helps you collaborate. So that's all for this video. In the next video, we will see how to create a GitHub account and start working with the repositories step by step. In the real world, we always integrate the Git with the GitHub. If this video helped you, hit the like button and share it with your friends. Also, drop your questions in the comments. I will make sure to answer them. And if you have any feedback, feel free to share that as well. See you in the next video. Thank you, guys.